Hi everyone, I'm Jacob from Bookkeeper, and in today's video I'm going to explain the Bookkeeper Exchange bot. Many asked for this video after the Bookkeeper Tax bot video, so here we go. For this video I've prepared a little collection with two books. The books have the same name as the collection with the currency extension, okay? What happens when you do this is you'll get within your collection these little tabs so you can switch between currencies. So Bookkeeper doesn't have a currency here on the values or something. It's per book that you work on each currency, okay? So it can be Bitcoin, can be liters, whatever you want to use. Or quantities that you want to use on your books. That's why it works like this. Okay, let's go to the installation of the Exchange bot. You go to your automations, install your Exchange bot. You have to do this on all the books in your collection, okay? I'm sorry, that's later. Exchange bot, press install, there you go. So now I have two books in my collection, one that represents euros and the other one that represents US dollar. And each book has the Exchange bot installed. So far installing. Now let's look at configurations. So for the Exchange bot to know what currency it's working with, you have to put in the book properties the exchange code. So I'm on the US dollar book and here I have to put USD. I'll do the same on the euro book. So the exchange code here is euro. There you go. Okay, so far one installation and one book properties. Now let's have a look at account group properties. So if you're working with permanent accounts, so this is a Brex cash account and a German bank account. So this one is US dollar and this one is euro, but they're both on the euro book and they're both on the US dollar book, right? So for the exchange bot to know which one is US dollar and which one is euro, we have to say that as well. So what I like to do is I like to create a group with the exchanges. And you can see that I did that here. I created a group exchanges in euro and US dollar. By the way, you can have like 10 currencies here, right? It isn't limited to 2 currencies. Now what I do is I select the German bank account and I put it in the euro group. And I do the same for, did that go? It's updating, yeah. I do the same for the US dollar account. So I like to do it like this because if you work with a lot of currencies and you work with several bank accounts in one currency, it's easier to make sure that they all have the exchange code as per account. Okay, now I'll go to the, okay, here I already set it. So yeah, in order for the exchange bot to know that the accounts in this group belong to euros or are in the euro currency, you have to put the exchange code as well. So I guess I also did this for the US dollar account. Yeah, edit. So let me quickly show you how this is. Okay, so I'll save it like this. Just not to, you edit, you go to here, you say exchange code, and this is the USD one, right? Yeah, okay. So now each time you record the transaction, the exchange bot will look at that event and will say, hey, it's a US dollar book, it's US dollar account. So far, minimal configuration. Now let's see the things that the exchange bot does for you. So let's sell a service. And the customer's tag, it was 1000. Okay, so I'm not using a bank account yet. I'm just using a receivable account for a customer. It's recorded. You saw the exchange bot flicker, and with that I already know that the transaction was duplicated on the euro book, but as you can see, it applied an exchange rate, which you get from open exchange rates, and said, okay, it's the same transaction, but in euros, tag design would owe you 931 euros, and in US dollars, it is 1000, of course. Okay, now these transactions, so here you see it was me who recorded this and no agent, and here you see it was the agent that I installed that replicated this transaction. So you can always know where a transaction came from. Now I'm gonna say, oh, I made a mistake here. It wasn't today. This was a transaction of last Friday. So I'll record that again. And now you don't have to go to the other book and do that as well. The exchange bot keeps the reference of that transaction and it corrects it to Friday as well. Okay, so transactions booked by the exchange bot are maintained. This is very important for consistency, and of course any errors that come from non-consistency. Okay, very good. Now the tech design office pays us. Okay, so tech design, they pay us on our US dollar, the 1000 US dollars. Okay, 1000, tag is back to 0, and I have a cash of 1000 here, and there is a cash on my euro account in euros, right? So it's my USD account with cash. Okay, now they don't have any money on the German bank account, but they have some expenses. So what I'll have to do is I have to transfer money over to the German account. Now that's a special operation because it's going to be on this book and it's going to be on that book. So how do we solve that? And normally it's not like the exact exchange rate, right? You pay something, fees are withheld. So normally the value is kind of different that you receive. One moment here, please. Okay. So let's book that. We'll send from the Brex cash account to the German bank account. And we send half of our money that we have on our bank account here. If I would book this, the exchange bot will grab that and apply the exchange rate that's current and book that on the euro book. But when this transaction actually happened, we already knew that it's not going to be exact the exchange rate. So let me book it like this to see what happens. You see it's 465, but actually what arrived on my German bank account was 450. They withheld 15 euros there. Okay, so you solve that by replacing the exchange amount, which is 450, we said, right? It's a property on a transaction. You will see that the exchange amount is respected and that the exchange bot assigns an exchange rate, which wasn't the one that we saw before. Okay, good. Now we have these movements, right? We know what's going on. And after a month, we want to know how we did on the exchange rates. Was it good to have money in the US? Was it good to have money in euros? Okay, so let's calculate our unrealized gains and losses. Let's see what happens. Okay, there we go. I'll calculate the rates, and it looks like we have booked a loss on the US dollar account. And then we close this one in Europe. Likely the same on the other side, right? That's probably because the amount differs very much from the exchange rate, right? So that's why you book a loss. Okay, so now you have here an exchange account where you can know how much you are positive or how much you're negative. Okay, so here you can see you have a negative liability. And the same goes for your US dollar account in Europe. Now you get to the end of your year, and in some regions, in some regulations, you're obligated to book your unrealized gains or losses to an actual gain or loss. So how do you do that? Same. What you can do is you take the Brex Exchange account and realized a loss in this case, right? Because it was a loss, and it's 15.85. Now, oops, sorry. Now, if I book it like this, it will be replicated, and it doesn't make sense to book that loss in another currency, okay? It's only a loss in the local currency. So to avoid the duplication of that transaction, what we have to do is we have to use the exchange code and say, hey, this is a US dollar account, so don't apply it, your exchange rates, to the US dollar book, okay? And we use an exchange rate 0. Okay, so this exchange rate 0 is like saying to the exchange bot, don't book it. Okay. So here you can see that my exchange was zeroed out, and I've booked a little expense here as a loss. Okay. Now, this transaction is not duplicated here. It wouldn't make sense, right? And now we do the same here. So we had a Deutsche Bank exchange loss, realized loss. The amount is 17.01. And we do the same thing. Hey, it's the Euro account that we're booking, and we're not repeating it on the other book. Okay, there you go. If not, you would always have the counter account with a liability open or negative, right? So this is how you can use the exchange bot to keep the currencies, the balance values of two currencies synchronized and consistent. So the value of your assets here is 982, and that same asset in euros is 921 at this moment in time. Okay, booking in your gains and losses. Okay, I hope this is helpful for you, that you can understand how you can benefit of a bot keeping two books in different currencies sync both ways. You can also do it one way. If you're only reporting in one currency, you then choose your base book, which is reporting, your reporting book. And you can see it doesn't make, it's very accurate. It's all the time working for you. So your book will be consistent day and night. You have a very easy way to define your gains or losses on exchange rates, and it's very easy to realize or book the unrealized or realized losses or gains. Okay, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to be informed about new videos in the future, like for example the stock bot which is coming on, subscribe to the channel. It also helps us to be more visualized. And for now, thank you for watching, and happy bookkeeping.